Welcome to Conor's Crew, a podcast about positive people doing positive things. I'm Conor, and this show is all about speaking to people who take action and make the world a better place. Today's episode is with Katie Nicoll, a Scottish singer-songwriter from Kirriemuir who has a strong connection to the Dundee music scene. Recently, she became the winner of the Young Live Artist of the Year category at the Scottish Live Music Awards. Let's get into it. Today I'm with Katie Nicoll, a musician. Katie, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
For anyone listening who might not know you, who are you and what do you do?
I would say I'm a indie/pop singer-songwriter, originally from Kirriemuir, which isn't far from Dundee. However, I did live in Dundee for 4 years throughout my time at uni as a graphic design student. Now I continue to do music.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. So you grew up in Kirriemuir, but now you feel a connection to the Dundee area by the sounds of it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Fantastic. So you said your music is sort of indie pop. How else would you describe your music?
So no, I think I definitely have a lot of influences. Lyrics have always been a really important thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reason I started playing music and releasing my own songs was a result of back when I was in school. I would just come home and write about my day to cope, really.
Yeah.
And I still do that now, and that's just been a consistent outlet for me. And sometimes if something sounds good enough, then I'll decide to go and record it and put it out and really enjoy it. So
that's amazing. So it sounds like music from the very beginning, it's been something that's helped you to express yourself and cope with things that happen and express things that are happening. That's really lovely. So when did music first start to become a big part of your life?
I think in ways it's always been a big part of my life. I didn't grow up in a particularly musical family, but my parents, from what I remember, always listened to music, whether that was just the radio or music in the car. I always really liked watching stuff on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, and I always really enjoyed the films and TV shows that were about music and had people singing. And I got really into Taylor Swift at quite a young age, and I wanted to play guitar like her. So by the time I was 10, I took a couple of lessons from a neighbour, and that's been that, really. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So Taylor Swift, she was one of your main influences when you were starting out.
Yes.
That's amazing. And you had a few lessons from a neighbour when you were learning guitar, and then what happened after that? After those couple of lessons?
I really, really enjoyed learning, obviously, and she introduced me to a website called Ultimate Guitar, which I'm sure most guitarists are familiar with.
Amazing website.
Yeah.
Amazing website.
The best website. Back in the day before it used to try and make you buy things all the time.
Yeah.
It was really easy to use and learn chords from, so I would literally just look up every song I ever knew and tried to play it. And I just loved it so much. I did it for hours and hours every day after school. And then over the years began to gig. Where I come from, although it's a very small town, it's very musical.
Mm-hmm.
The original singer from AC/DC is from there.
Oh, nice.
Scott. So we have a festival that takes place annually called Bonfest, which is just a crazy celebration of AC/DC and Bon Scott. We have fans from all over the world come visit it. And the festival funds a charity called DD8 Music, which focuses on young people in the community and teaching them music and getting their foot in the door when they want to start playing live. So they were really great to have on the doorstep. When I was about 10 or 11, I started going to them, and I was gigging by 13 through events that they put on and at the festival itself. So
tremendous.
Yeah.
So that festival, would you say that played a part in you learning your music, and it helped you?
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I got my first guitar donated to me from the charity that the festival funds. And then obviously with them being a local music charity, they were always asked to put on music at local events, and as well as having the festival every year. They were really good at getting me up and performing through that, and I just totally fell in love with it, and it still kind of blows my mind to this day that I was able to do that. I was a very shy child. I don't think I come off as that way at all anymore. I'm very chatty, and I really do credit music for that, and it all leads back to that festival and that charity itself. So yeah,
that's amazing. I think you've mentioned something really important there, that the power of learning music at any age, but especially if you get the opportunity to learn music when you're young, it doesn't have to become your career, but it can help people who feel shy, give them that confidence, and it can help build friendships when you're playing as part of a group. Helps you improve your listening skills. If you're listening to how other people sound in a band or an orchestra, then you think, oh, how am I sounding in relation to that? Am I making a sound that complements their sound as well? Teaches you hard work when you're practicing. And again, it gives you confidence. It gives you confidence. I was really lucky to start music from a young age as well, and it definitely gave me a lot of confidence. And it's fantastic that festival is helping young people get into music to build those skills. And I think that, you know, that your neighbor that taught you guitar initially, that was fantastic that she sent you to that website, Ultimate Guitar. That's a good teacher right there. It's the whole thing of you know, are you going to give someone a fish, or are you going to give someone a fishing rod so they can get the fish? And it sounds like that neighbor gave you the fishing rod, and that you could just look up everything yourself. That's another thing music teaches, is just you know, self initiative, and just listening to stuff, finding out what you like, and following that. AC/DC are one of my favorite groups. I saw them in Edinburgh last year. It was epic. It was epic.
That's amazing.
There's just so much energy. I was deaf for about a week after, but it was worth it. It was worth it. That was class.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, really I feel so lucky to have been brought up in a town that really celebrates and embraces Bon Scott himself, and honestly, I'm so glad that I got to kind of come up and playing live to. It sounds maybe a bit bizarre to say to people that aren't in the AC/DC fan base, but it really is like a tight-knit community. Family, especially at the festival. It's the same people that come every year, and like you mentioned, when AC/DC were touring last year, I'd see on Facebook that people that I have on Facebook from every part of the world that I've met from that festival were all there, all traveling to see one another, to all the gigs all over the world, and really supportive community.
Lovely.
And they love coming over to where I'm from and listening to the music there as well. So
that's another great thing about music, is that it brings people together. It's a shared experience when someone's playing, and then, you know, a group of people are listening. It's something that we're all sharing. We can all share that moment. So that's really lovely. Do you remember the first time when you were learning music and you thought, oh, this is really good, I can see myself going places with this?
It maybe sounds so cheesy and like I'm just making this up, but from the moment I first started, I think I remember the first thing I was taught by my neighbour was Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol.
Nice.
You know, just that little riff that plays the whole way through. She taught me that at my very first lesson. It's super easy. And I was just like, wow, this is so cool. I never thought I'd be able to do this after an hour or whatever it was. I've never wanted to stop.
Amazing. And another Dundee group, I believe Snow Patrol started out in Dundee.
Yeah, they went to uni here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And well, probably my favorite band of all time also came from Dundee. It's a group called Average White Band. They're sort of a jazz funk band,
Okay.
where they've been going since the 1970s.
Okay.
And I saw them a couple of years ago, and there's only, I think, one of the original members that's still performing with them, but they've just been going for so long, and tons and tons of great music. And to think that was also here. Also, AC/DC is Scottish. There's just, I think Scotland has given so much music to the world.
Yeah.
So much.
Absolutely.
For the size of Scotland, there's just so much, like AC/DC, Snow Patrol, and so many more. So when you started playing music, those first crowds you were performing to, what did those early performances teach you?
It's quite funny to think back about the first time I played in a pub, and I was standing there playing like a terrible version of a 1975 song to a pub full of like European hardcore AC/DC fans that love beer, and I was like 13. I don't know, I think I feel really glad that I was sort of pushed out of my comfort zone. And I think I learned very early on in life that that's more, it can be such a positive thing. Being pushed out of your comfort zone safely, obviously. Yeah. What does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Sometimes you don't want to be uncomfortable, but it's important to push yourself further into what you want to go into. That's what I mean. So yeah, I think I learned that quite early on, and I think also being from such a small town and being involved in such a big community event really taught me a lot about community and how important it is to just know people and spend time with people of all backgrounds, and how much value there is in doing that, I guess. And I don't know, I think it looking back, it's something I really appreciate about where I'm from, is how everyone pulls together. And I like that about more recently in music. I've kind of found my close-knit group of friends, and I feel like I've found kind of a community in that, and how we all are supportive of one another. And I have friends that do music from all over Scotland.
Amazing.
And I think that's a really cool thing to have in life, is a circle, I guess. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about music, is that it connects people of all backgrounds. And I think when you all sit back and appreciate a good piece of music, you realize that we have got so much in common. We have got so much in common with each other, and that's really lovely. So you mentioned your first performance in front of a crowd. At this point, you have performed to hundreds of crowds. Over that time, what's changed?
I don't know. I feel like there's so many answers to that. It's funny how, last week I got to play a sold out, I think it was like a 600 capacity venue.
Wow.
And a few nights before that, I was playing at a pub down the road, and there was no one there. It was dead, and I had to stop early. So I suppose I was going to say that it's nice to see the venues getting bigger, or be put on bigger stages even. But there are obviously still smaller ones. But what's changed? I don't know. I think my confidence is forever growing. I notice every time I do something a bit different, or play to a bigger room, that there are things I could have done differently. Always note them for next time. I've played a lot of different kinds of gigs now, I guess. So I've done a lot of pubs, hundreds of pubs. I've played different sizes of venues. I've played with bands. I've played without bands. I've like sang covers, my own songs, and I don't know. There's a lot to be learned from all those individual things. But I don't know. I think maybe not just when it comes to live, but I definitely understand live music. But I definitely understand what was I even going to say? I think I was thinking about how maybe when I was a bit younger, people weren't always very kind about the fact that I did music,
Yeah.
especially at school. But I know that just comes down to, I guess, like knowledge and awareness, the lack of it you have when you're younger. Whereas compared to now, I find that people are generally a lot nicer about it. 'Cause I guess as an adult, you appreciate more that music, everyone that does music has to start somewhere, and everyone likes music. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And I really love what you said about after every performance, you think about, what went well and what can go better next time. Sounds like you're constantly learning,
yeah.
which is fantastic. And I think that the music has been going really well for you because I understand you won an award recently.
I did.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I won Scottish Live Act of the Year. I got people. So originally you had to be nominated for the award. So I got some friends and family to put my name forward because it was like an open vote kind of thing.
Excellent.
And then the long list came out, and I couldn't tell you how many people were on it, but it was quite a lot. And then it was a voting thing that whittled it down to the shortlist. And then the shortlist, what do you call it? People, I was going to say shortlistees. I don't think that's the word. You get what I mean.
Yeah.
From the shortlist, it was announced in the night who the winner was. I definitely was not expecting to win, and I won't lie, I'll say I maybe took it a bit far with the wine before the award was announced, because I just really didn't think that I would win. I guess in the back of my mind I was like, it'd be great if I did. And let's not believe that I definitely won't, but I wasn't expecting for them to say my name. And yeah, I was buzzing, and I still don't really feel like I've processed it. It's I guess it was one of those things where in the moment you're in like such a high, and I still don't feel like I've quite I don't know, really thought about what it means, and I don't know.
I can imagine it takes time to process, because that's a huge achievement.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's that's remarkable. It's amazing, because all the artists that were nominated, there was just such a high standard. Really, really talented people, and yourself as well. And so to win that, it's a massive achievement. Well done.
Thank you.
Really well done.
Thank you.
So you're from Kirriemuir, but as you've said, you feel very connected to Dundee. Bit of a broad question, but what does Dundee mean to you creatively?
I think it's I was listening to your podcast with Andrew. You spoke about this vaguely, about all the things that have come out of not just even in the arts, but in science and technology. And I think that it's such an underrated city in the way that people seem to leave here and just never come back, and it's not really acknowledged. And I mean, it goes back to what you were saying earlier about the amount of Scottish music or music that's come out of Scotland. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day about all these forgotten, it wasn't even specifically Dundee, but just Scottish bands. I don't know if you know of a band called the Blue Nile.
Yes.
So they're Glasgow, and I might be wrong here, but I don't think they've released anything for years. But apparently a couple of years back they were, I don't know if they were charting or what it was, but Taylor Swift mentioned one of their songs in one of her songs.
Oh, cool.
And it just went a bit mad for them. And we were just talking about how funny it is that these bands, like, they aren't active anymore, and people don't really celebrate as much that they're from Scotland, or it's not really talked about it, and they're just like sitting in their houses, like living a normal life, but yet so well recognized in the music industry, or appreciate. I don't even know. I'm forgetting how to speak. But going back to what Dundee means to me, I think obviously I went here for uni, so like I learned a lot about myself whilst living here. I mean, all of my songs that I've got out as of the last few years are all about experiences I had here in this city. I have a few songs that mention where we're sat right now, actually, as well.
It's
so
a good spot.
yeah. So yeah, it's always, I guess it's always been inspiring to me because this is where I lived and discovered a lot. So yeah, I can't remember if that actually answers the question.
No, that's all right. It more than answers it. It's a really lovely answer, and I think you're absolutely right. There's there's so many artists, musicians from Dundee and around Scotland. Maybe some of them are not active now, but the things that they've created are still having an impact, and they're still in people's thoughts.
Yeah.
And maybe you're not thinking about a specific piece of music all the time, but it just comes back, it randomly hits you on a random afternoon.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's still there, and the impact of all this music is still being felt today. And I think Dundee is just such a brilliant city. You know, I've been here for a few years now. I grew up in Dunfermline, but there's people that leave Dundee and never came back. I came to Dundee and never went back. I never went back. I think there's just so much going on in Dundee. I came here in 2018, and from since then, I think it's just been growing and growing.
Yeah.
There's so much going on here.
Yeah.
Not everyone is aware of it, but once you are aware of it, there's never a dull moment here.
Yeah.
There's so much going on, and thinking about the Dundee music scene, what role has the Dundee music scene played in your journey?
Oh, so much. I think I have been able to play in some pubs locally, host open mics, and just last week I was hosting a jam night at Canvas, which is a new venue.
Yeah.
They've got a really amazing spot, and they've constantly got music events on in there, which I think is something that Dundee really needs right now. Sadly, I've lost a few venues over the last couple of years. So yeah, it's really cool to see somewhere like that being so what's the word? Like, putting on so many music related events. But yeah, sorry, what did you ask me again?
Oh no, that's it. It was just about the Dundee scene overall, and I think there's so much now that's online.
Yeah.
You know, when this episode's released, people will be listening to it on Spotify, on a phone or a computer, and it's the internet's great that it connects so many people around the world, but it's lovely to have live events and live music. We really need that. So having places like Canvas, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
fantastic.
I think it's really important to go to events when they're on. Obviously you can't possibly go to them all, and unfortunately sometimes it can be a little bit expensive to make it, but I have really started to learn that it's important to show up to things even if it's not particularly your go-to style of music. Like you said you like jazz, right? I went to a jazz night at the Lowdown before that shut down.
Lovely.
So that was just last year, and I'd never been to one, and I walked in, and it was actually a friend that suggested going, and oh my goodness, it was packed. There was so many people there. It's not a type of music I'd listened to much before, but I got chatting to this lady that I just happened to be sitting next to. She was an older lady who'd come up from Edinburgh because she loves jazz, and she said that she goes all over Scotland whenever there's something on. So it was like a jam night. I got chatting to her, and I mean she was in her 70s, and she got up there and she was like playing solos and everything. And I think it's just so important to go to these things and make an effort to chat to people. It really opens your mind, and I remember I was like kind of tearing up watching her just because I kind of saw something in her that I'd really like to see for myself in the future.
That's lovely.
Yeah, so it's nice to there's these things going on that I guess in a way are kind of like underground, like underground jazz. Because it's not something I'd heard a lot of people talking about before, and it just so happened I went that night and I had such a great time. So
these experiences, that they can surprise you. You expect, you've got expectations before you go in, and then it's good to keep an open mind. With and be open to all forms of music. How you meet new people and then get a broader perspective. That's really lovely. That's really lovely. And you mentioned about a few of your songs that they're about real life, and I really really love your music. It's amazing, and what I love about it is that your songs, they're about real life experiences that are universal to all of us, like heartbreak and friendship. Do you always write from personal experience?
Always, yeah. I think, or maybe more recently, I've been making more of an effort to get with musician friends and write together. And sometimes when you are working with someone for the first time, it might be easier in ways to come up with a story. I do really enjoy writing like that every once in a while, and when it's with people, I feel like you can have a lot of fun with it. But for me, music's such a personal thing, and going back to the fact that I said the reason that I started writing was just to cope, and that really hasn't changed. And I don't think I would feel comfortable releasing something under my own name that didn't feel like truth. I guess.
Right.
I think I really love writing songs and thinking about them like stories. I mean, different artists work in different ways, and I mean, I'm sure this hasn't always been the case, and it won't always be the case. But when I sit down to write a song, I always usually start with the verse, because I'm thinking about it like, okay, we're setting the scene here, and then the chorus is normally a bit of like the exaggerated truth. But I love writing about real life experiences. And I think it's really nice to go back and even just through my voice notes every once in a while, if I just want to feel inspired or revisit something that I've come up with a long time ago, it's really interesting to go back and discover things that you forgot that you'd written. And it's kind of like an audio diary of like things that you're so over and haven't thought about for so long. And sometimes it can be a bit cringe to remember that a situation even bothered you that much that you'd sit to write about it. But I don't know who I'd be if I wasn't able to do that. I think I'd have gone mental by now. But
sounds like a really healthy way of coping with life's experiences.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then you've got those songs, and as you say, you can look back on them and think, how do I feel now versus how I felt at the time. That's really lovely. And when you're writing a song, do you write the lyrics first, or do you write the melody, or do you just think about the mood and the feeling first?
Normally lyrics and melody kind of come at the same time.
Yeah,
I would say I'm quite proud that I can come up with a melody kind of fast. So like it'll normally come from messing around on guitar or something. I've been trying to learn a little bit of basic production on my phone.
Cool.
So I've been having fun with that, but most of the time I'll have just been messing around with a certain tuning on guitar or something. If I like the sound of something, I'll put it away and come back to it. But I guess sometimes with lyrics I'll have ideas in my notes phone notes for months and months before I do anything with them. I guess there's not one linear way to do it. But I more or less always know what I want to write about before I sit down to write, because I'll have been thinking about it for a few days, or something will have just happened that's upset me, or vice or whatever. So
that's excellent. And you have written so many amazing songs, but is there any song that you've written that feels especially important to you?
Thank you for saying that. I think there's one that I put out a couple of years ago called "I Just Miss My Dog."
Okay.
I wrote it at a point in time that I was really struggling.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was definitely the most raw thing that I've released. In terms of like the emotional side of the lyrics. Sorry.
That's all right.
I lost my train of thought there. Whereas I think with other things that I've put out, they've maybe been a bit more silly. Like, I like a bit of humor in music, and I feel like maybe that plays into how I kind of cope with things that happen. If you kind of have to laugh about them or realize that things aren't really that serious.
Definitely.
but yeah, that song's really special to me because I think it feels like my most honest, and it kind of hurts now to listen to it back and remember that I felt that way, but also really important to listen to it back and reflect on how things can change. But yeah, I definitely have favorite songs of mine, but that one is a definite favorite.
That's a great answer, and I love that you write your songs with raw emotion, and you also write songs with humor as well. It sounds like you use all the emotions in the music, and I think there's no bad emotions. You know, each emotion is it's a message that's telling you something, but there are no bad emotions, and nothing should be bottled up. They're all, you know, it's all the colors of the rainbow. And if you were to paint a picture, you wouldn't use one color.
Yeah,
it'd be quite a dull picture.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to use all the colors. Each of them has their place. That's really lovely.
Yeah.
How do you decide when a song is ready to be shared with the world?
I think, as silly as it sounds, it's just a feeling. Like maybe a couple of times a year, especially, I'll write something where I just know I have to go and record it and put it out. I think sometimes it comes down to how emotional you felt when you're writing it, and how much. I think for me, songwriting also helps me to understand how it is I'm feeling, and sometimes I don't know why I keep saying you, I mean me. Sometimes I'll be chipping away with the song, chipping away at a song for months, and it isn't until months or sometimes years later that I think to myself, that is the words that I've been looking for this whole time, and I can find, it's like my brain just flips and I can finally understand why, put the feelings into words, and have a better psychological understanding of a feeling. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, I've like went in circles there, but yeah, sometimes you just know, or sometimes I'll maybe write something that I just have a feeling people will find catchy, and that's
great. You just, you know, trust in your instincts, and it sounds like that's got you very far already. That's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
On the days where you maybe feel, you know, self-doubt or things like that, what keeps you going and what motivates you?
Oh, complaining. I love to moan. I don't know. I think I've got better at it recently, at not feeling down in the dumps. I mean, there have been times, maybe even this time last year, I remember going through a phase where I thought, I don't want to keep trying to do this, as in releasing and putting myself out there as a musician, because I just doubted myself so much, and I think I became so focused on progress as opposed to the fact that I love music.
Yes.
I think one thing I've managed to kind of reteach myself is, or I went through a phase when I felt that way, of saying to people, I wish that I could just be as carefree as what I was when I was 15 and coming home from school and just writing purely because I loved it.
Lovely.
I think sometimes too much knowledge is can be a not very good thing. I think back then I was just, it just felt natural to do it because I loved it, whereas last year I was going through this phase where I was constantly thinking about releasing and what was worth putting money into recording, and like how I was going to get people to listen, and like streaming numbers, and is this going to get me a better gig, or is this going to get me this or that? And I was more thinking about what I could get out of something than just being in the moment and doing it because I love it.
Great.
I think lately what's really helped me is just staying connected with my peers that I know through music, and I've been writing with, and just hanging out with people that I've spoke to for a while online that also do music, and meeting them in person. I think it's just, I find it's like fuel to have conversations all the time about music. I was with a friend last week who is just amazing. He's like the coolest guy. He's like head to toe with like tattoos, and he looks like you're like typical musician.
Awesome.
You would know he was a musician just passing him on the street. So yeah, I have hung out with him twice, and I was saying to him last week, we were just having this chat about bands that he likes, and I guess I know a lot about bands because I like to watch a lot of music documentaries and things like that. So we're just having this massive conversation. And at the end of the day, I was like, it's so weird I've only met you twice because it feels like I've known you for longer. But I think that's what's really powerful about music. As you said, it brings people together, and especially being a musician that hangs out with other musicians. And I suppose anyone that's ever or most people that are creative, I feel, or were maybe a bit different to classmates growing up, have experienced maybe a great amount of loneliness that other people haven't. And I find it so comforting now to know so many people that love what I love, and it doesn't feel like that anymore. So I guess I just feel super connected to when you have a mutual love for something and someone understands you, because so that's nice. I actually can't remember what you asked now.
Yeah, that's you answered that perfectly. You expressed that really nicely, and it's lovely to hear that you've got that support network of people that are interested in the same thing as you, and it sounds like you feel understood.
Yeah,
which I suppose is what we all want. We all want to feel understood. Yeah. That's wonderful to hear. If there's a person in Dundee or Scotland or anywhere in the world that has a creative dream, what would you say to them?
Oh, I like this because I've worked with so through the charity that I was talking about earlier, So I've worked as a youth worker for them a few times over summers between going back the end of semester and going back to uni. And I was a music teacher until recently, and I've ran songwriting workshops and stuff. And I love working with young people and kind of hoping that I can inspire them to keep going with it, purely just because of how I've talked about how much I feel music's changed my life for the better.
Yes.
I just want other young people to learn that you can keep going at it, and it might change your life, and as silly as that sounds, but yeah, I don't know, I think the main thing is I would say to people is don't let other people encourage you to stop. And trust your gut, I guess. If you love doing it, then keep doing it, and always try and keep an open mind about things. I think one thing that unfortunately not every musician has is to keep an open mind when it comes to genres and how to treat others that do music too. Because you never know what you might learn.
Absolutely. And
it's such a small scene, I suppose, in Scotland, and you never know who you might come across. And I don't know, I learn a lot from people all the time just by kind of just going to gigs and chatting to them, and talking to people that maybe don't do the same genre as me, but checking out what they do, and it keeps me inspired. And I think it's really important to stay inspired if you're into making music.
That's amazing. So this episode is it's going out on the 22nd of April. And Katie, is there anything, upcoming festivals or anything like that you would like to promote?
So I'm actually playing Bonfest.
Amazing.
So as this releases, it will be the week after. So I'm playing there on the 2nd of May on the Saturday. Or maybe it's a Sunday. I think it's a Saturday. No, I need to check that.
That's all right.
Saturday or Sunday. And then the following month, I'm supporting Marty Pello in Pitlochry. I have a couple of festivals locally over summer.
Lovely.
One of them is in Brecon. It's called Summer's End. And I'll be sharing a stage with an all-female lineup
Fantastic.
which is really cool. And there's another one in Montrose. It's just the local music festival that goes on there every year. And there's an Arbroath festival as well that I'll be doing an acoustic set at. So plenty happening.
Oh, that's brilliant. Lots
Thank
of
you.
action
Yeah.
in the local area.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Katie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been lovely speaking with you and learning from you as well. Please keep doing what you're doing. You're making the world a better place with your music.
Thank you.
And continue being a positive force in the world. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Pleasure.
Thanks for the chat.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Conor's Crew. I hope you enjoyed hearing Katie's story and got inspired to do something positive in your own way. Remember, it only takes one person to make a difference. I'll see you next time with another guest, another story, and more of the same good energy. Take care.